gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Universal Lens. I am your co-host for this evening, John Emilio.
And Henry Beltra.
And Henry Beltra, the one and only Henry Beltra.
The G.
Back from Oklahoma.
Yes, sir. OKC.
OKC.
I tried to
Tornado Alley.
Yeah, I tried to open a mindfulness store in Oklahoma. It wasn't happening.
It wasn't happening.
I couldn't find a good spot.
Well, good to have you back, man.
No, thank you, man. Nice to be here.
Yeah. Things are rolling away here.
It's busy.
Yeah,
Life
I've been
is-
busy. I've
life
been
is
busy.
busy.
I've been busy the last couple of days again
Yeah.
too. I hadn't posted anything, even with our last episode. I never really followed up with it. I've just been busy doing other stuff. And today I finally put a couple of things out on the Facebook page. But yeah, no, it's been just had a lot of stuff to do. But in the doing, I'm not losing my presence.
No?
No, man. I stay grounded with it. I try to stay present with it. I don't get carried away in my mind.
Okay. Makes one of us.
I enjoy something. If it's something to be enjoyed, I enjoy it, absolutely. But I don't get carried away with it. I try to just take life as it's coming now, and that's it.
So you're painting now?
Yeah, I was painting my backyard. I was painting furniture in my backyard today.
You know,
Why not?
you could have been fixing a car or something.
It's true. It's true. But
Nah, it's weird to see you paint.
why? I'm a painter by trade.
You get out of here. Oh, because your father had the paint
I'm
store.
a contractor, you Mo.
Well, it doesn't mean you paint.
I started out as a painter.
What if you're a floor guy?
Okay. You know what? I stand corrected. You're right. No. I started out as a painter when I was a kid.
Really?
Yeah, like one of the first jobs. Well, demolition probably. And then I used to just paint.
Okay.
My father would just take me to jobs and make me paint, in the city, wherever he had a job, and just I would just paint closets. He'd throw me in a closet and paint the closet.
That's a good place, right?
Yeah, and then I come out of the closet later on.
Okay, question. Question for you on the paint. Are you supposed to cut first?
It depends who you talk to.
Really?
Yeah, I like cutting first and then rolling.
Really?
This way you're not cutting over when you roll and then you cut afterwards. There's always a chance you might see the brush mark. So I like to cut first and then roll.
My father-in-law painted on the side.
You didn't think this episode today was going to be about painting, rolling, and cutting.
Oh, but Daniel-san did the painting.
Learned,
right?
yes.
No, but my father-in-law told me, he says, you want to cut first, and then you do.
And then you roll.
That's how he did it, and that's how he
He's
taught.
right.
He taught me.
Bob is right.
Bob is right. Bob the builder.
Bob the builder is right.
And yeah, I'm sure he listens every so often.
Does he?
Yeah, I'm sure he does.
Yeah, I don't know who does.
Shout out to my beautiful father-in-law.
We have people who listen. It's been a little quiet the last couple episodes, but we have people who listen, but I'm not sure. I don't even know who they are.
Well, honestly, right now it just feels like life is going quite fast. You know what I mean? It's busy, and like I just got back from Oklahoma, and before Oklahoma, and it was that, and I was like,
So this is where you need to learn to not lose yourself in the moment. Don't lose yourself in the running around of everything and the the busyness of the moment.
So work happens, right? So
yeah,
work happens, life happens, but I have 3 kids. 3 very busy kids.
Sure.
And it's taken me left, right, center, and so when you try to juggle this, it's very tough. With obviously my wife, my wife is an absolute superstar. I have no idea how she does what she does. But still, like in this case, usually she would be the one traveling with her to Oklahoma, but she can't leave work. So I got to go to Oklahoma.
So you have to go.
And let me tell you, the Oklahoma trip was special. But I'm not going to complain. Why? Because
Well, why would you complain?
Go to bed late, wake up early,
no,
drive 3 hours.
I'm sure there, but I'm sure it was a great, it was a nice experience.
It was
It's
such
been
a
few
beautiful
days.
experience. Let me tell you.
And by the way, what would complaining get you anyway?
Exactly. No. Actually, it's one of the tenets. I looked up mindfulness in Spanish because I really
In Spanish.
in Spanish.
Okay.
We're completely making a left turn here. But I did want to talk to you about
That's what we do in this show.
Yeah.
We pivot and we shift.
Yeah. That's great. I did want to talk to you about this.
What?
So remember I told you that, in the Orlando thing, when I was at the convention center,
Mm-hmm.
convention center, when I was
Trade
at the trade show, which is at a convention center.
Which was at a convention center. Yeah.
It just, again, yeah, I know that I have when somebody says your name in a crowded room, you can't hear anything. Like follow me. You walk into a crowded party and all you hear is,
you hear the murmur.
and this, but all of a sudden somebody says John Emilio, and you heard John.
Sure,
you picked
hear
up.
it. Absolutely.
You know how your ear is trained for that. So, I'm Hispanic. I have that same thing, whatever you call that. If there's a name for that.
Selective hearing.
No, it's like when your ear recognizes certain sounds.
Yeah.
You don't hear the murmur. Like I don't know what 3 tables near me is talking about. I just hear, and all of a sudden you go, John Emilio, and you're like, whoa, I heard that. Okay, that's what I got for Hispanics. I know my peeps. When that lady was doing her mindfulness seminar, I couldn't help but notice how many Hispanics were attending. It was, I would say, the majority. And numbers person would probably say, well, numbers wise, there's quite a large number of Hispanics. Yeah, sure. But when you take a look at the overall, let's say,
you were in Orlando. I mean, that's Florida, maybe.
More so than Orlando. I was in a very specific trade show, like a very specific. So all countries were there, like all colors, shapes, and sizes. But there's something very drawing the Hispanic people to mindfulness, that they were curious about it. And so that got me thinking, should we do a show in Spanish?
Should we do a show in Spanish?
Should we kick one out in Spanish?
I can't. You can. I can't.
I think you can.
No, I can't. I speak construction Spanish.
I speak kitchen Spanish.
No, meaning I mean the Spanish that I spoke was to tell my, when I used to converse with my peers and my colleagues to do certain things on the job.
Tu madera y martillo, clavo, pam pam pam.
A little bit better than that, but something like that. Yeah, no, I can't do it. A show like this, the language that's needed.
You need fluidity.
You need fluidity. I won't be fluid in Spanish. I'm barely fluid in English.
Well, I'm just saying that it's something that is there. There's an interest.
But there are people who do bilingual shows, but they're larger. There are larger venues and they're larger personalities. Let's just say, like they're a little bit more. They're well renowned and known, and these people speak fluent. I'm sorry, in multiple languages. Like Eckhart Tolle does a Spanish show.
Really?
Yeah, he'll do a Spanish show.
Really?
But he speaks Spanish fluently. He also speaks German. I think he speaks like 3 or 4 languages. He's a very intelligent man. I mean, he was a bookworm when he was an English major in college too. So, so he was always about, about languages and speaking.
So we'll do it in Italian too.
Does that mean? I don't think you have many Italians. That might not be our.
Let me tell you this. So obviously my flavor of Hispanic, right? Cuban and Spain. But I can tell you something a little bit about Cubans in general. We're very animated, and
yes, we are.
And we're very passionate, emotional. It's weird, and I can't really explain it. I think the Cuban community would totally benefit from our show in their native tongue.
Anybody would benefit. Anybody can benefit from the show, but I can't. So if you
yeah.
if you're trying to pitch to me a multi-language show, a multilingual show, no, I can't. I can't do it.
Let's do it.
You
Vamos
can do it,
hacerlo.
and I will answer you in English.
No.
Yes, I can't, bro. I don't speak it.
Tú entiendes todo lo que estoy diciendo.
Sí, entiendo.
Perfecto.
But I can't converse in it.
Yeah, I hear you.
I can't converse in it.
No, I hear you.
I would love to. I wish I could. I could get by.
Yeah.
But to do a show in it, it's got to make sense. The words I'm going to use are going to be like Spanglish. Spanish and English put together. You know.
It's better than you know.
No, yeah, I get it. That'd be great if I could.
Juan.
That that would be great if I could. That would be great if we could. I mean, I don't even know.
But anyway, we took a left turn. But
yeah,
I'm telling you. Yeah, no, because what the hell was I saying?
Who?
About why we even go down this road?
I don't know why you went down this road. you went to this whole Cuban.
Yeah, I went to this whole left turn thing, but I was just talking to you about how crazy
things have been. Yeah, so, no, and how you it's very easy to get caught up in you know, and just doing things, and you forget completely.
Yeah, I mean,
and you just get taken by your mind on a ride, and before you know it, you want to do the next thing. You got to do the next thing. You got to do the next thing. I mean, we've spoken about this before. This isn't the first time we've touched on this, but there's a you know, there's a point where you have to learn how to shift your focus from one thing to another. And if you see that your mind is running away on you, it's about shifting your focus back to where you want it to be. And that shift could be onto nothing. Could be on to just sitting in silence for a few minutes and just saying, I'm going to intentionally disconnect right now, even though it's hard to disconnect completely, but I'm going to intentionally disconnect right now just to be. And and you can say, well, there's a million things to do. There's always going to be a million things to do. The excuse I hear the most, and it's comical to hear sometimes, but John, there's just too much to do to stop and take and do nothing. Like, so your life is going to be consistent of doing the next thing. And I get, look, we all have responsibilities. I'm not saying that we don't have responsibilities. That's never an avenue of discussion that I would take. We all have responsibilities, and we understand that. But do we let those responsibilities just become one after another? Not everything is everything is an emergency and needs to be done. Not everything.
I see myself with that comment that you made of too much drowning in the thoughts of what you have to do. So you know, just the thought of it is enough to drown you. And what you're saying is a palate cleanser in between.
Yeah. So if your mind, and actually you become more productive when you do that. So when you're the kind of person that you're chasing your mind like a dog chasing its tail, the mind says this, oh, okay. The mind says that, oh, I gotta go. The mind says this, oh my God, I gotta do this, I gotta do this. It's important.
Everything, yeah.
I have to do this, important. This is important.
Yeah.
Oh, I got a great idea. And hold on, I have definitely been a victim of this in my own head for years.
So you speak from experience.
I speak from experience. My mind goes, oh, great idea. Oh, okay. Oh, wait, better idea. Oh, okay. Wait, no, great idea again. And you know what I'm not doing? Focusing on the one thing that I wanted to do. So I've noticed in the last, I would say, year to year and a half, even more recently than that, like I'm really working on it, where my mind will come up with 40 different ideas at times. And that's great, right, to have those ideas. But to chase them all, to be like, oh, my mind's okay, and then go here, and people can say, well, that's a little bit of attention deficit. No, because I could sit and do what I have to do, but it's the next great idea comes up, and oh, that's great. And the next, oh, and that's a great idea. Oh, and that's a great idea. Oh, but what about this? And oh, that's great too. And the one thing I actually want to focus on, I lose my focus from it. So it's and that kind of all ties into if you just kind of always follow your mind, you might. And if you're a person who has a little bit more of an active mind stream or an imagination or something like that, you might fall victim to that, where your mind's just gonna be throwing stuff at you constantly. When do you say, you know what? So now if I have an idea, I want to do something, I'm focusing on, I'm doing it. I get another idea, and my mind will, okay, well, that's not a bad idea, but let it go. I'm going to focus on what I'm doing here. I'm going to shift my focus to where I want it to be. And if I don't even want my focus to be on this, because I'm saying, you know what, right now, I feel like I'm getting pulled in 6 different directions, I'm going to shift my focus to nothing for the next 5 minutes.
Palate cleanser.
Nothing at all. And a lot of times, those little ideas that were meaningless and they really had no place in the moment right now or what we were working on disappear. And then I'm able to kind of come back to that more important item that I wanted to work on, whether it was something for work or personal or whatever it might be. You could by kind of taking that breath and sitting back and saying, well, you know what, I'm going to sit back for a few minutes and I'm going to just allow this to be, the way it is, and I'm not going to try to change things. You get an opportunity to kind of just let things be and not force them. If you kind of understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, I can. And actually, I'm going to just make two observations. One,
I had to just turn up the mics a little bit there.
Two observations. One is
the
fact that you have a lot of ideas come to you, in my opinion, means you're in a good place mentally.
Yeah, but if you chase all of them, it'll be exhausting.
Well, I'm not saying you have to chase. I'm simply saying the act, or to say the act of ideas coming to you means you're in my opinion,
it means you're in a good place.
You're in a good place.
Yeah, I guess so.
I'll tell you why I say that, because there was a time in my life where usually when I'm doing well in terms of, say, emotionally, mentally, is when ideas come to me. Is when ideas really pop, they come in, wow, and when I get cloudy is when I have a blockage of ideas, and all I have is.
But what do you mean by cloudy?
Things are going wrong here. I got too much to do, and then the black cloud forms.
Yeah, but I think, are you trying to control things there? Like, do you want things to be a certain way?
Well, correct. That's what ends up happening is the anxiety rises, the depression kind of knocks on your door. When things start to go a little bit awry, you can forget about ideas. The mind doesn't give me ideas. The mind gives me, survival. The mind gives me what's gonna happen. Anxiety, and then anxiety brings. I told you, going back to the old episode of the balloon, the Chinese spy balloon. For a moment, that's what happens to my mind, where you get whisked.
It takes you for a ride. Absolutely,
you get whisked away. So of course, if you have enough of that during your day, and then you have enough of that composes your week, and then you have enough of that composes your month, your comment of, I get these ideas, I love that. Like, I love that, because when I get ideas, it means my juices are flowing correctly.
So they can be insights. Yes. When you get insights, it's because you're paying attention, but it depends on what the ideas are. Are they like, just random crazy ideas, or are they like,
no.
When I say crazy, I just mean like out of left field kind of things.
I mean, it's
or when you're getting ideas that are I don't want to say artistic, but like of a nature where they're beneficial and they're.
In any case,
I'm looking for a word and I can't find it right now.
In any case, it applies. I'll tell you why. Because, like, when you're quote unquote drowning or in a funk, what ideas come to you?
Oh no, when you're drowning or in a funk, you don't have any ideas.
What I'm saying? Like,
not many ideas at all.
So nothing good comes into your mind. Only. And again, we probably have different issues, but you kind of understand how my mind works, where one thing leads to another negative. All of a sudden, it just chains up around me, and that's it.
Well, there's a lot of judgment there, saying that one negative thing, you start believing. You start getting kind of into this mind stream of where, oh, this sucks, and yeah, pretty much everything is gonna suck if that's what you're kind of anchoring into and attaching to.
Of course, not on purpose.
No. You don't know. It's not about doing it on purpose. It's about just it happens if you don't have that level of awareness there where you don't.
And
realize.
That's the key. That's the kicker. That's what we always go back to. But if it wasn't for that awareness, literally, you can just drive yourself. You
could spiral out. That's why I always kind of tell people, even when I'm talking to, I was talking to one of my kids a couple of days ago, and I always tell them, it was my son. He was in college, and it was finals week, right? And he just had a hard semester this semester. A lot of classes, just a lot to do for, he's a PT major, so he had just a lot to do. And there was one night where they had to stay up late. And they stayed up until the morning. They saw the sun come up from the library. They studied through the night.
This was a must, or this is just...
It was kind of they had to do. So I would tell them, I was like, this is why I kind of talked about time management a little bit, but I was like, even when you're doing something like that, something that's, just intense because it's required in the moment and you kind of need to give that attention. I go, take a few minutes here and there and just, for a better term, when I say zone out, zone out's not the right term, but practice a little bit of mindfulness. Take a few breaths, close your eyes, focus on your breath, focus on the sound you hear, focus on a body sensation. It's a good way to reset yourself because your mind kind of gets going. And when that mind stream builds up, it's a runaway train now. You can't just stop it. But
you're talking to me, man.
You could slow it. You could slow it down for sure.
I gotta ask you something.
You can slow it down
in real time. In real time. So if your son studied, let's say, just to say something, 7 hours, 8 hours, more or less, or just like maybe they started around 8, and then all of a sudden 5 o'clock is rolling around. Oh my God, guys, the sun's coming up. Okay, in real time, what is that? How long does that take? How long does that brief moment where you say, okay, guys, I'm just gonna take a little walk, and you might go to the bathroom and
how long is that break?
Time. Yeah, how long is that break?
It's really person to person. It's what your preference is.
So it could be as short as 2 or 3 minutes?
Yeah, you take a few minutes just to kind of recenter yourself and reset yourself and get a little presence back in your life, because when you're focused on what you're doing, yes, you're present, you're there with it, but you're attached to your mind right there at that moment because your mind is figuring something out, studying for a test, whatever it might be, right? When you break away from that and you just sit and watch, now you're not engaging the mind anymore. You're just watching everything that's happening and sitting in a little bit of like pure presence where you're just aware of everything but not engaging it. Then you go back and you say, okay, mind, now we're going to re-engage with what we're doing and start working on what we're doing again. And it's good because you give yourself these kind of breaks in between where it's like a mini reset button. You get to reset yourself because the burnout happens when the person doesn't do that and they just keep going and going and going, and then they go to the next thing, and then they go to the next thing. And I'm not talking about they go to sleep and they crash. It's they don't stop, they don't disconnect or stop chasing their tail at some point where they're constantly one thing, the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. That's where people, and when I say burnout, people who end up having bouts of severe anxiety or severe depression or, other just mental health crises or a physical or just a nervous breakdown, as they call it, it's because you've put your body to the point where you're exhausting it and not giving it a chance to reset itself.
You're talking to me. This is very particular to me. And let me ask you, would you advise somebody to schedule, let's say, have an alarm go off every 90 minutes? Or every, something.
If you're the type of person that you notice that you naturally just get caught up in doing, sure. One of the things we used to do in therapy, when I was in therapy, they told me years ago, my therapist gave me a list of things I had to do during the day. And she told me, set an alarm. When the alarm goes off, you must do this. And it was part of my exposure, response prevention, right? You must do this. You must do this. I say this thing or do this act, whatever it was. And the point of that was for me to bring my attention to this thing during the day. You could use that same basis with this. Set a timer at 10 o'clock, at 1 o'clock, at 3 o'clock, whatever you want to do. It's up to you. 2 minutes, right? You don't want to, especially if you're working during the day, you can't spend much time, because you have a job to do and there's responsibilities. But you can say, I'm taking a minute. For 1 minute. And you can walk away, go to the bathroom, and just sit there and literally take a few deep breaths and do a quick little quiet meditation, because that's actually what it is. And that just kind of recenters you. It helps you become aware of your mind as it's thinking, and now you're not chasing it. Now you're kind of like, all right, my mind's thinking, and you go back to work, or you go back to your studying, or whatever project you're working on. You go back with a clearer mind. I mean, this is what I've noticed. Whenever I just take a break and I walk away, I come back and I'm able to see things better, because I'm not just chasing. My mind doesn't say left. I go, okay, right, okay, that way, okay. I'm like, mine goes left. I go, wait, no, left doesn't make sense here. No, I'm going to do this instead of just chasing my tail, because that mind stream and those old behaviors build up over time in your life, and they become automatic commands that your mind just, boom, spits out. Henry, go. Okay, Henry goes, because Henry's mind says go.
It's been trained that way.
Yeah.
And I think what you're offering is to train it.
To retrain it.
To retrain it.
To say, you're not in charge.
So
I'm in charge, and the I is actually a person, this thing that just sees it and allows you to make a better decision. I'm sorry.
No. So how many times have you been done with your workday? Like, for example, a typical workday for you is probably similar to mine, where you close your laptop for the day. Right? I don't know if you work off your laptop all day.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. So
but you close your laptop for me. The physical
closing of the laptop is the punch card that you would if you worked a 9 to 5.
Correct. Actually, I'm almost there. I have to because I basically have a portable office. You see my bag.
Yeah.
In that bag, I have everything. No, and
I know,
because I can put an office up anywhere. And I'm working. I have 2 iPads, I have everything there. Until I put everything away, I'm still in work mode. And then symbolically, when I put those things away, it should signal to my mind, we're done here. Now it's time.
I think it does.
Well, you would think it does, but I don't have that kind of a mind. My mind latches on and continues with the flavor of the day, the thing to stress about for the day.
Okay.
I think I'm going to have to incorporate what you just mentioned, which is something that the only thing I was incorporating is, let's say, a meditation in the morning when you're alone. It's your quiet time. It's my quiet time. Okay, that's one thing. But I think what you're saying is these
during the day,
these little palate cleansers, and I call it palate cleanser because you remember you ever sit at a real, let's say, fancy meal, right? And you have a 7 or a 6 or whatever,
and they bring out the sorbet in the middle.
Right, a little palate cleanser, right? So that you can enjoy the next.
Yeah, because of that sorbet cleans your palate of any flavors that were there before, and we're fresh.
So I would love nothing more than to be able to focus on my family in front of me, whether it's my wife, my kids, or one of my kids, and really focus, as opposed to one half of the brain focusing on them, but the other half of the brain still looping, still reeling, still,
because your mind's been kind of trained that these other things are
life or death.
Life or death. I mean, and it's not to diminish their importance or say that they don't have an importance, because I'm sure they do. But in this moment right now, where you're with your family, no matter what that thing is, are you going to change it to where it's worth you having your time split between your family and the mind thinking about this work issue?
100%, John.
So right now you're with, Erica and your kids, and you're doing whatever, and you're kind of with them, but you're kind. I can use me as an example, not to use you. Like, I'm with Julia and my kids, and my mind's here also. So this, where I am also, this other thing that's going on, is it worth it? No matter what it is, in this very moment where I'm experiencing life with my wife and my kids, what importance does that actually have? Whatever that isn't happening right now anyway. I'm anticipating something, or I'm replaying something. And that's where kind of learning to, when we say let it go, is it's a whole form of acceptance and awareness, but is to let that be and just say, this is where I want my foot. This is where I'm going to shift. And we said shift and pivot before.
Yep.
This is where, and I like shift because shift is when you shift, you don't turn, right? Turn seems very turn hard. A shift is a just soft movement over and a soft movement over. So you just take your focus and you shift it back. This is where I want to be right now. And if you do that enough, your mind eventually catches on and it plays nicer with you when you do shift that focus over. Not that it's always going to, but you kind of start to rewire those neural pathways a little bit to where it doesn't want to aggressively chase something else. It's going to say, but this is where we're putting our focus. This is where Henry's putting my focus. This is where John's putting my focus. And it's easier to stay there a little bit.
So I know you enough to know that when you buckle down on something, you get it done.
Okay.
No. Like
I can. Yeah, I've been known to procrastinate in my life also.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know that one. I don't know that, John.
I've been known to procrastinate.
But
we all have things we don't like to do.
Like what I'm getting at is like I sometimes suffer from concentration. Like I can't concentrate. Like when I need to concentrate on something.
How many things?
Correct. Oh, good one.
On how many things are you
You're
trying?
You're wise beyond your.
How many things are you trying to concentrate on? Because I'm talking from experience. I notice how my mind wants to concentrate on 5 things, and you can't. Your focus can't be split. Multitasking is chewing gum and walking. Multitasking isn't mentally being in 6 different places because there's only so much energy the mind can expend. How can I put 20% on what's happening tomorrow, 35% on what's happening now, 40% on what happened yesterday? I didn't add that up. It's probably over.
You got 15% left.
So you can't. So it's like, okay, no, 100% focused here right now. This is what I'm doing right now. 100% focus here. Now, if something comes up and I need to shift, I shift my focus. But now I'm 100% on what I'm focused on now. Whatever. So my wife calls me, somebody calls me, there's an issue somewhere, I need to attend to something or whatever it might be. But I kind of let go and walk away from what I was doing before and just kind of shift over my focus to where it needs to be. Because when your mind's all over the place, like, well, I want to finish this, but I got to go here. I got to go here, but I got to finish this, but I want to go here. The thing that you're working on, you're not gonna be present. There's gonna be no enjoyment at all if there was gonna be any at all in that task. And B, you're probably not gonna do it well. Like the biggest thing is you're probably not gonna do that task well because you want to friggin' be done with it and go to the next task. So like I was painting in my backyard today. I'm painting all my patio furniture, and I'm painting with an oil-based high-gloss black paint, right? Because they're metal. If that's something that I try to rush through, and by the way, it's a pain to paint with. It's dirty, it's nasty, it's sticky, it's not enjoyable at all. And I kind of enjoy painting. It's not, so you just want to get it done and just get. But if I rush through it, not only is the job not going to come good, but everything's going to be a disaster because that paint, once it gets on something, it's like permanent marker. It's there for life, right? Mm. It's that kind of. So I'm like, I'm focused on this. Even if when I'm done, that'll be nice. But I'm focused on here. If somebody was calling me and they needed me to do that, I would honestly have to say, guys, I need 3 minutes. I need to finish what I'm doing completely, and then I will walk over to you and see what. And that's just one kind of example of a task. But plug that into anything else that you're doing in your life. Is that task gonna be accomplished or accomplished well if your focus is in 3 different places? No, it's not. It's not. And that task becomes a little bit more enjoyable because you're present. You're there while you're doing it. You know.
I've gotten that down. I told you, dishwashing is my thing. You know.
Yeah, but you could plug that into the same. It's the same train of thought for that it is mentally if you're trying to be on 3 different things, right? And you can't do that. So if you're trying to figure out a problem, if you're trying to solve an issue, put your focus into that one issue that you're trying to solve right now, whatever it might be. Something for work, a personal issue, whatever it might be. Maybe you could fix it. Then there's a question. Maybe you can fix it. Maybe you can't fix it. And if you can't fix it, okay, there's nothing we could do. We then accept that that's that, and we move on with our lives.
We're not going to mull over it.
Well, no, we usually do. But the point is, yes, you don't want to mull over. It's a good way to put it.
Ruminate, right?
Yeah. Over why?
Because that's my hamster wheel.
Yeah.
That's my.
And that's where I kind of get that. You know, I'll just drop something and say, this is where my focus is. I can't worry about that. I can't worry about that. Life's happening right now. This is it. Life happens now. Watch this. I've said this before. Life happens, and I'm not the first person to say this. Life happens now. Life happens now. Life's not happening tomorrow. Life's not happening last Thursday. Life happens now only. You could plan for the future, but you don't want to live in the future. You could plan for the future, but most people plan and live in the future, right? Or they reminisce and live in the past. So listen to that. We reminisce and we live in the past. We plan and we live in the future. Then when the hell are you ever actually present for what's happening in your life? You're present for you're planning for a story that might happen, and you're reliving a story that did happen.
It's so hard to.
Yes, I'm not saying it's super easy.
No, it's so hard to break those trends, those patterns.
The patterns are. It's not about breaking the patterns. It's about becoming aware of them.
Well, but
once you're aware of them, and even if you get caught up in them, it's okay. It's fine because you're aware that it's happening to you.
You're better than a blind person.
Yes. Yeah. No. It's like knowing that you're drinking too much. It's like drinking too much and not even realizing it.
Right.
I know I drink too much.
Right.
Well, now you could do something about it.
Right.
Now you could actually take. You know what? I know I've been eating a little bit too many sweets lately. I'm aware of it. I know it. Perfect. I'm aware I'm doing it.
It's a good spot.
So now when you go to eat that other cookie, you could say you have that choice to say, no. You know what? I know I'm aware I'm doing it. I'm not going to do it. I mean, that's just whatever, a very small example, but
I'm going
things that make you go.
Starting tomorrow, I'm going to implement the timed.
That's a great little.
And I have a feeling that this palate cleansing experiment, for some reason, I think it's going to also alter me chemically.
Well, so meditation in general does. It does over there. I mean, I don't have the scientific proof, but there is scientific proof where it shows that your neural pathways do change by practicing meditation.
I want that. Yes.
Yeah, but I think you've accomplished a lot. I mean, you've accomplished a lot of that.
I have accomplished, but there's a lot of things that they sneak up on me, and they take me away.
That's everybody, bro.
I know, but when I go, you see, I'm also autocritical, right? I beat myself up. I don't need you to beat me up because I'm already doing it. You know what I mean? Like in a fight, you don't have to even put up your hands. I'll just pop. But I hate when that happens, and you kind of want to. How do I say? Let it be known to that wolf. That's right.
Yes.
Let it be known that I have many a ways to deal with you, and because he gets the better of me, a lot of times, So if I can train this pattern of forced breaks, forced palate, and again, like I asked you a question, how long should it take? And you said no, it's individual. That's perfect, because there are times that I feel great meditating, and in real time, 2-3 minutes, if that, and I'm like, well, it's individual to me. So I don't have to sit here for 20 to 30 minutes.
No, and that's always been the misconceptions. But you have to sit and meditate for hours on end and hours on end, like the old Buddhist monks used to do. It's not realistic in today's day and age in the life that we live. I mean, if you wanted to go on a retreat and just sit in meditation for an hour or two, you can do things like that. But in real life, just those 2 or 3 minutes are enough to break your cycle of attachment to the mind stream and be able to kind of get that awareness back to your surroundings and what's going on. Now you're not just all, caught up in whatever the mind says you're doing. You're like, okay, time out. This is my reset button. And I can watch what I'm doing, and I can reset. If I have to shift my focus from one thing to another, I can shift here. I could reassess things because you're taking a step back. So yeah, man, set that alarm 3, 4, 5 times a day. 2 minutes here, 2 minutes there. Even if you're in the middle of doing something enjoyable. So people will be like, Like, yeah, but what if I'm having a great time? Well, I don't want to stop in the middle. I'm watching a baseball game. I don't, or whatever. I'm at my kid's game or I'm at something. I'm like, okay. So if it's an event of something that you don't want to miss, you want to experience it, maybe do 30 seconds.
Right.
Or just focus on, do a meditation where you focus on, let's say you're watching your kid's baseball game and you're watching the whole game. So you know what? While I'm here, I'm going to meditate. I'm going to meditate by doing this. I'm just going to focus on my son. Not labeling it. I'm not paying attention to. I don't care who's up at bat or what the pitch count. I don't care about anything that's actually happening in the game. I'm just focusing on him.
You're tunnel visioning.
You're kind of. But yes, you are tunnel vision. But there's an awareness there of still everything that's happening around you. But you're putting your focus just on this one object right now, and you do that for a minute or two, and then you can kind of pull back and get a more global. So you could do it anywhere.
Okay, so the same rules of the focusing apply. Like when you said you focus on that column, you focus.
Yeah.
It's just you pick a random object.
Yeah, and you're not labeling that object. It's just to become aware of something.
It's just so that
it brings you back to the present moment.
Well, it's just so that you're just really thinking about that one thing, and you're not.
Actually, you're not. See, it's not about thinking about that one thing. So if I look at that column right now, I'm looking at that column. I'm appreciating it. I'm looking at it, but I'm not labeling it. I'm not. My mind might want to say white stone or sharp stone or square column. Like my mind wants to, but I'm not going to attach to any of those. I just keep focusing on it. So my attention is just on the object. And when I do that, I become very present, where I hear and see my thoughts, but I'm not engaging with them now. They're just kind of floating by, and I'm just kind of watching that one object. And it's a portal into the present moment where you disconnect from the mind stream and you become what the essence of what like life is for everybody is just this awareness of it all. You know, you kind of get to tap into that for a few seconds, and things at least for me personally, sometimes I get a feeling like things just slow down when I do that.
Yeah.
No, they just slow down.
That's what I felt. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, and that's healthy. Beyond helping you focus and stuff like that, it's healthy for you to do that because it's a come off the gas, pop it into neutral kind of thing. If you want a car analogy, right? Come off the gas, pop it into neutral, and now you're coasting. That's it. And we're just paying attention. We're just watching the ride outside. We're just not giving it any gas. And then when we're ready, pop it back into drive and you re-engage it. But when you do that, you're showing your mind. You're showing your mind. You're showing yourself. I mean, unfortunately, these are the words we have to use. But you're showing your mind, I guess is probably the best way to put it, that I get to choose where and when I want to focus on what I want to focus on. You don't, just because you tell me a story doesn't mean A, the story's true, B, I have to believe it, or C, I need to engage it. I don't.
I'm interested to see how this works out. I can't wait to do it.
It could only help.
Yeah.
It's not going to hurt you. It could only help. It'll only help you. It'll probably, so the one, I don't know if it's, I don't want to say side effect or downside to this because there really is no downside. But the one thing I noticed from me in my experiences, I slowed down by doing this. So like my urgency to do things, and I got to get a lot done. I got to do. My God, so many things. John's going to, we're going to get 1,000 things done today. That's fallen wayside. That's not a bad thing.
No.
That's not a bad thing. So
you know me.
Now you learn how to prioritize the things that do need to get done because they are important and the things that don't. When before, everything seems important.
Everything, yeah.
Everything seems... So now I feel like I'm slower, but I'm still as productive as I was. But there's things that I say, I have tasks that I want to do. I paint the generator cover. I got to do this. I want to do that. Stuff around the house because I enjoy doing that stuff. And the old me would if I didn't get them done in 2 days straight, to the point where I was just exhausted at the end of the day, I wouldn't be happy. Now I'm like, all right, I'm going to do this task. And then there's other things that are more important that we need to tend to. So I shift my focus back to them. Even though that part of my mind is saying, but we got to finish that. Bro, we started it. We got to finish it. We are. That's not important to finish it today. That's not. That task isn't important right now. What's important is my daughter needs help with something, or my daughter wants to talk to me about something, or It's family time with me and my wife and my kids right now, and we're gonna just sit, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, because for me, every task is on an emergency basis, and that's not true. In other words, I made it that.
Sure.
I'm telling you this.
Yeah, absolutely you did.
You know?
Nobody else did.
Every task that I have is an emergency. Like everything. Like I have my lists, but if I look at my list, I look at it as a failure because I had to do this immediate, and it's all fake. It's all fake. It's all.
You see, I don't know. If you, are you on social media a lot?
Not a lot.
Okay.
I mean, I'm probably a lot on Twitter.
Yes, I'm not either really. I mean, I'm on Facebook and Instagram, but I don't. Let's say troll or whatever they call it. What do they call it when you scroll through things? Or there's a word that they say when you
answer.
No, when you just surf. Like surfing the net. Oh my God, I'm dating myself.
Oh my God,
I just dated myself. that was AOL.
That's John.
That was AOL connecting, going to the chat rooms when I was a kid. What was I saying?
That you're not big on social media, but when you're
I'm not big on social media, but
scrolling through,
I see a lot of Instagram, mostly Instagram. What do they call the people who put the content out? Content creators or influencers. A lot of influencers. The amount of stuff that they put out on a daily basis is
appalling.
Appalling. It's insane sometimes. And Gary V, who I do follow, and while I like I said before, I like his message. I don't agree with. I'm not a big social media guy, so I don't personally attach or align with any of that stuff. But that's fine. That's what he enjoys doing.
Yes.
But he's getting a message out. And somebody asked him in one of his reels that he put out or something. They said, "What if I feel like I'm getting to the point where I'm getting exhausted by it?" So there's the attachment that the mind says, "I got to put out content. Got to put out content. Got to put out content. Got to put out more content. Got to put out more content because if I don't, the algorithm, the AI is going to Instagram's going to boot me off. It's not going to put me in front of people." And his answer was basically this. Take the fucking time off. Because your mental health and your life and your health is more important than anything else. He goes, I think it's great that you want to put content out there. He goes, that's phenomenal. He goes, but do you. Take the time off. Now, he wasn't talking about mindfulness, but if you listen to what he's saying there, he's saying the same exact thing that I'm saying. But he's telling somebody who's so engaged with their mind, but I got to get content out. But it's exhausting. I mean, dude, just me putting this podcast up is exhausting.
Yeah.
And I don't got to do that much. And I feel like I'm like, oh, my God, so much to do. These kids who do all these videos, it's exhausting. And for him to say that to somebody, it shows a level of take a step back. So when we say take a 5-minute break during the day and you kind of refocus yourself, that's what we're talking about, you know?
I can't wait. I'm going to try it.
Yeah, look, it's not gonna hurt you. And if anybody out there is listening, I implore you to do it. Also, it's a great way to learn to disconnect from the madness in the mind.
So my wife's a teacher. Assuming.
Did she put you in the corner? I'm sorry.
she
I couldn't help it. I'm sorry.
Trust me. What? Yeah. The reason I laugh is because I know for sure she would. There's no doubt about it. But like, so my wife's a teacher. She's in front of the same class. She's a first grade teacher. Like, you have any tips for a first grade teacher?
For what?
Where you don't really have. I'll put it this way: she has trouble timing her bathroom breaks because she can't break from the class. It's like that's how in front of the class and in tune. Like for guys like us, we're self-employed, and whenever we want to walk away, we walk away from the.
Yeah, somebody who's in an office setting or a classroom setting, they can't just take a break. I mean, they can tell the class guys step out for a second, continue chapter blah 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 blah. I'll be right back. I mean, teachers do that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But like, so what do you?
Basically, simply put. Her break would have to be whatever break she uses for lunch and whatever break she uses for, any other break.
Well, yeah. I mean, listen. Again, if you're an airline pilot or a truck driver, or I mean, there's certain, or neurosurgeon, you can't say in the middle of a surgery, guys,
I'm going
to go meditate for 5 minutes.
Palate
I'm going to go palate cleanse. So yes, I mean, there are exceptions to everything. The point we're trying to make is, no matter who you are, you can find a minute here and there.
Yeah, so perhaps I'm being too technical.
Yeah, I mean, that's like me saying my airline pilot is going to be like, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be meditating for the next 5 minutes. Kiss your ass goodbye. I mean,
Yeah, I'm being too technical. But the reason I'm being technical is because this is me latching on and harping. I want to get this right, John. I want to get this so right.
There's nothing to get right or wrong.
Okay, so basically,
the act of doing it is it. There's no right or wrong.
All right. So whether you do it,
you can't do it wrong.
2 or 3 times a day, or 7 times, or 8 times a day, it's fine.
You can't do it wrong. 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 The important thing is that you do it whenever you can do it. Take that time whenever you can. Take those few minutes here and there, and you'll see the benefits of it. Over time, and these things take time. If you're somebody who's really unwinding, like a big yarn of a ball of yarn right now, like, so you're a ball of yarn. You're tight and wound up. It's not going to unwind in 3 seconds. But if you start letting it unwind and you just let it roll out, eventually it'll roll out. But it's going to take a little bit of clock time. That's when we say clock time. It's Eckhart Tolle always says clock time, meaning actual physical, practical time. It's going to take a little bit of that. But with every time you do it, you gain a little bit more. You gain a little bit more. You gain a little bit more. And over time, those little gains become big awareness gains. And all of a sudden, you start just seeing things different. Your worst habits that you used to have. Like, I have a lot of thought patterns in my mind that were just kind of implanted there from when I was a kid, from upbringing or whatever it might be, and somebody will say something and it triggers a thought, or it triggers a reaction. Not a reaction, it triggers a thought, or it triggers an image, or a thought process, or a third pattern, and which I don't agree with anymore at all, but it still comes up. But now I see it come up and I say, okay. That's not me.
You can actually,
It's not me. Because I don't like that thought pattern. I don't like to be, we'll use jealousy as an example, right? I don't want to be jealous of anybody. But it was ingrained as a kid that, I don't know how it happened, that I would have these thoughts, or, oh, I'm not good, or, oh, I wish I was like that person, whatever it might be. So now that thought might still come up from time to time, not as often as they used to anymore, but it still come up. But instead of me going and running with it, I just watch it, because the first thing that comes, once that thought comes up, the first thing that I realize is I don't like it. And once I realize I don't like it, I just don't engage it. Yeah. Why would I engage something I don't fucking like?
Well, yeah, and you end up having control over what you're gonna.
That's the real control. I feel like my voice has been not hoarse, but like dry today. I don't know if a dry voice is a thing.
Well, let me ask you this: you've been outside for a good part of the day.
Yeah, no, a little bit of allergy. I feel like it's a little like I can't, like, when I'm talking, I feel like my voice stops at a certain octave. Not that I had a baritone voice or anything like that before, but
there goes the tape. After this, we're gonna tape the Christmas carols, but I guess I guess not.
So try it, give it a shot. What do you got to lose?
I am. I hope all of you try it. I hope everybody listening is gonna try something, because we need this. We need this.
It's good stuff, everybody. Yep, it's good stuff, everybody. That's why we do this. Hopefully, whoever's listening. Yeah, I know we try to joke around here and there, and sometimes we go off on tangents, but if you stick with us, you're always going to notice one common theme. If I have to say it again, I'll say it again. But
ice cream.
Ice cream. Ice cream. Use grocery for ice cream. It's always one common theme. It always comes, and I've said this since episode, I actually listened to one of our first episodes a couple of days ago, and I said it. I go, you'll notice when we talk, I always say, it always comes full circle. And I've been saying that for 26 or 27. It always comes full circle.
The cone.
It's the cone.
The cone.
Awareness is the cone. The flavors are whatever they need to be.
Yeah. No, it really is.
Okay. We're good. We're 55 minutes, so.
Señoras y señores.
Señores y señores. Vámonos a comer.
Muy bien. Cerremos este capítulo de The Universal Lens.
Sí.
Con una meditación guiada por el señor John Emilio.
Gracias.
You see, you can do this.
I will now do it in English, the meditation.
You knew exactly what I said.
Oh, I understand it almost every word, verbatim. I can understand it. I can't speak it like that. You're very polished. You're very polished.
I am?
No, you are. You're very polished with your Italian and with your Spanish. And it's from years of being in your industry where you were around proper speaking Spanish and Italians. I grew up, around dialect a lot in both languages. Dialect in Spanish, because a lot of South American, they all have different dialects.
You on the way? Yeah, you know.
Yeah, you on the way? You Brazilians who speak Portuguese, that's a whole... So I've kind of caught on to that. So if I have to do something in proper Spanish, it's a lot.
Você fala português?
You speak Portuguese too?
Pouquitinho.
Really?
Yeah.
It's very similar to Italian.
Yeah.
Like when they speak Portuguese, it's odd that I kind of catch on to it, and I'm like, it sounds almost Sicilian sometimes.
Yes, yeah, because
it can be.
Yep, because the Sicilians, the bastardized words,
yes,
the bastardized words come across, and I tell you, so I don't have a good handle on Portuguese, but whenever I'm missing a word, I do the same thing that I do in Italian. Whenever I'm missing a word, I just throw the Spanish word and I go, do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's the bridge that gets me to the other side. Of course.
Yeah, that's smart.
Eu posso falar com... Eu posso falar
and in Sicilian, it would be o posso fare.
Holy shit.
So, right? So in Sicilian, that's dialect for anybody who's listening. Like, that's hardcore. That's the dialect part of it. So when you say o posso falar, it's o posso fare.
Oh my
So see how close that
God.
is? And that's not Italian, by the way. That's
No,
Sicilian.
that's Sicilian, yeah. Italian is different.
No, lo posso facere.
No.
lo posso fare.
No.
Yeah, no.
Io posso
Io posso.
parlare.
No. What were you saying
in Brazilian? I was in Portuguese. I was saying I can speak.
Wow, no, so I wasn't saying that. I was saying I can do.
Falar.
You said falar. It's like parlare.
It's parlare.
Parlare.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I got you.
Yep. Which is weird because in Spanish it's hablar.
Yes, very cool.
Right?
So look at that. Not only did you learn a little bit of awareness today, mindfulness, but you also got a lesson in Portuguese, Italian, Spanish, and a little bit of Sicilian dialect.
Stick around. Tomorrow we'll do Japanese.
Maybe we'll do the meditation in
Japanese.
All right. So let's get everybody out of here. If they're still with us, I don't know if anybody is with us.
No, they zoned out.
They zoned out. But they're gonna miss out on the best part of the episode. This is where the work is done. So for the next couple of minutes, as we always do, everybody take a couple of deep breaths. Start to just watch everything that's going on in your mind. If the mind is running rampant right now, notice it, be aware of it, and just start taking some deep breaths. We'll do the 2-second inhale, 2-second hold, and 2-second exhale. Continue that pattern as I kind of talk us through this. So if any, like we said, any thought patterns are running rampant right now, don't try to stop them. I want you to just notice them. Realize that you're this essence watching yourself have these thoughts, but you're not those thought patterns. Don't engage them. Just keep focusing on them. Just keep that focus and that awareness. And if that mind stream does slow down and you want to shift your focus to something else, that's great. You can shift your focus to your body. Find any points of tension as we usually do. Feel free to release that tension, as I just did in my shoulders as I said that. You can focus on other body parts if you want, or just on your breath itself. It's really whatever works better for you, whatever you find more enjoyable and pleasant. Even with an active mind, I I still want this to be a pleasant experience. Not a good one or a bad one. Not a successful one or unsuccessful one. Just a pleasant experience. Let's take a couple more breaths. One last one. Hold and release. If your eyes were closed, slowly open them. If not, then you already have them open. And sit here for a few more minutes if you want to, or else we are out of here.
I left.
Oh. I'm by myself. Okay. All right, guys. We will catch you next time. Peace.
Been a pleasure.
The insights and discussions that we speak about on our show are our own opinions and based on our life experiences. If you or someone in your family or someone you know is suffering and in need of help, please get them that help through medical attention or seeking proper therapy. Again, what we speak about are based on our experiences and not intended to be taken as a form of therapy.